Hi everybody, Gisele Grenier here from artplace.ca. So, gonna make another background, and I've been getting a lot of emails from people asking me where I get my inspiration for my backgrounds. I'm known for three things: my backgrounds, my mountains when I paint mountains, and my wildlife and pet portrait pieces. Landscapes I like, but that's not what I'm known for. Where I get my inspiration for my backgrounds is random events that happen, where I take a lot of pieces. I do a lot of this stuff in my post-shot book, which is like for quick studies, or my journals, and then I practice and do a lot of art experimenting. And then when I'm partway into an experiment and I'm finding it's working, then I'll start documenting it either on camera or writing stuff down. And then I'll make notes right on the journal, and then take that and transfer it to a formal painting if appropriate. So with all these backgrounds, you know, one person asked me, why do you do all these backgrounds? And what it is just to give you some place to start to be able to create your own backgrounds. Okay, because backgrounds in a painting, depending on what type of artwork it is, the background plays it's vital to a painting, because it creates, the background could be used to create perspective, and with values it'll create the distance. And if you're creating a formal painting of, let's say, a floral still life, you can't just paint it on something solid. A beautifully diffused background is ideal. As well, I teach a lot of children art techniques, and without going into a lot of theory work, is that kids can create these beautiful backgrounds, and they look at it and say, I can see a fishy, and then they will paint a fishy. So, that's what it's all about. Okay, for this particular technique, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use wax to create a resist. Now, you can use Crayola crayons. This is what I use with the kids. But for my formal art pieces, I use an actual wax resist stick because it's clear. Okay, now with this here is that to start, for this particular technique, I've primed my multimedia paper with Permalba white gesso. This gives it strength. Okay, gives it strength. Now I can use watercolor paper for this technique, but I want to see what happens when I'm working on a gessoed page. And the Permalba gesso is ground marble in pure titanium white pigment, so it's going to be strong, it's going to have tooth, so we'll see what happens. Then I put this aside and grab another sheet. Okay? So, when you draw with a wax resist stick, I like the idea that it's clear. So whatever I put on, whatever I draw on, the watercolor is not going to stick to it. On watercolor paper, on a gessoed page, I have no idea. I don't know what's going to happen. So when I'm using, and when I do this with kids with a Crayola, because they're there to have fun making art, that way they can't see, but this is really cool because you can't see. So if I were to turn around and do something totally random, and it's kind of hard saying totally random because I'm on camera doing this for you, and you kind of have to plan. If I take a look at anything in my studio, and I've already found what I'm going to use as my inspiration, drywall tape. We had a bit of a mishap putting in a new light fixture or light switch, and so Joe got all this drywall tape, and this is amazing to reinforce the binding on handcrafted journals. It's amazing. I love the squares. Okay, so I'm going to use that. I'm just going to put that ahead of me. And I thought, okay, I'm going to make some squares. So if I think of it on an angle, and I'll just uneven lines. Whoopsie, broke my stick. And then, can I see? Nope, I have no idea. I have no idea. I can do multiple layers of this. So I can do this, then a layer of watercolor, let it dry. Another layer, another resist, another layer of watercolors. Okay, because I need to do this in layers, I want to save that phthalo blue, so I'm going to work with something a bit lighter. Let's take, I'm going to wet the surface. I'm looking at my palette and I've got a color on my palette and I have no idea what it is. Something went wrong with some paint that I put on my palette. It turned out tan. This color here is supposed to be, there it is, cad yellow medium. Some orange got into it. I'm looking at it, I'm going, what color is that? That's a beautiful color. So I put some water on here. Okay. Can you see the grill? There you go. Come on, shine. Here we are. So I'm going to take, let's take ultramarine blue. Take ultramarine blue. And I want to use ultramarine blue because it's very, very translucent. A bit more. And I like my edges to be very, very rough. Okay. You can't really see much of the grilling. Let me just go into the turquoise deep. Let's see. This is on gessoed paper, don't forget. Oh, there we go. The paint just wasn't quite strong enough. This is on gessoed paper. I know what happens when you do this on TerrraSkin and watercolor paper. I'll have to do another technique video on that. So wherever the wax crayon was, it resisted. Okay, put this aside. And you can do this as many times as you want. This is a TerrraSkin journal that I just ended up making up. This is a video that I have online, how to do bookbinding with copper tape. The book isn't finished. I want to build on top of it. But so for this, I'll just open it up to wherever. And I'm going to do the same thing. Okay, so this is TerrraSkin. Now TerrraSkin is not made from trees. Okay, and water and bleach is not used to make this product. This is made from stone. And it can be cut. It's tear resistant. It can tear, but it's tear resistant. Okay, you can cut it. You can get different thicknesses. But for journaling, it's amazing. It is heavier though. So when I go backpacking, and if I'm going to bring some TerrraSkin, I try to keep it into a small book like this. Now, not someone that's so fancy. I mean, this is not fancy, but if I'm doing something plein air, I want to bring my TerrraSkin journals where I can cut the pieces out. Okay, so I can take this now, and if I want to create if I do the same thing, let's keep it the same. That way we can compare. Random lines. Okay, and I'll go on straight with the turquoise deep. There we go, look at that. Now let me try with the ultramarine blue. Oh, wow, there we go. So the gessoed multimedia paper had a direct effect on how this technique worked. There we go, look at that. That's kind of cool. I'm going to take my heat gun. Now be careful when you're using a heat gun on TerrraSkin, because this product is made from stone, it gets hot. So I just want to dry a little area. I have to look to see if I can see some shine. I'm going to dry a little area and I'm going to show you how we can do another layer. Now, I didn't put any SpectraFix on this, so if I were to add the color on top of this, it could dissolve. But the whole purpose of this is that taking my wax crayon, which is broken, and I can basically from here, I'm going to write hello. Okay. I'm going to take a different color. And I'm going to wet this first. Come on. Just at the top. Let's take, I think this is alizarin crimson. I want to see if I can get it to drip first to create one effect. And it's going to go through all the little grills. Come on. There we go. Okay. I don't want to lose all that. There's the hello. Let me go into some, I think this is, what is this? This is Magenta Deep. PR 122. You can even dry brush. Okay. So you can see the hello. Where's my hello? Oh, you can see where I didn't quite put the pressure. Not quite hard enough. It's not quite hard enough. I'm going to take my heat gun. Where's the hello? Now, when you do this as well, depending on how you're doing it, you actually melt the wax as well. Now, it allows you to solidify back on there. But I'm going to do another technique video when we're going to be working with oil pastel as a resist, but then we're going to remove it. Okay, I'm going to let that dry like that because I want that puddling to really create some beautiful lines. And the lines that I'm talking about are, if we look, take a closer look, see how we get these ridges and edges and kind of like the different values. The camera can't focus there. There we go. These little values here, that's what, when the paint sits in and it creates these beautiful little edges. Okay, so this is just a nice, cute little thing. Then from here, I mean, you can leave it the way it is, or you can, you know, further enhance it. I mean, I can take, this is a paper towel that had the turquoise deep on it, a patterned paper towel. I can turn around and just, what happens if I just take that turquoise right on there? Will it do anything? I can feel the warmth on there. And you get a little pattern there. Ah, stuck. What happens if I spray? Can I get that to transfer? No, but it did remove some. I just don't want it spilling on the floor. Oh, that's a neat little pattern. I don't want this spilling on the floor when I pick it up, but you get the idea. There we go. See all the patterning? Okay, so that's a resist technique basically showing you on gesso paper and on TerrraSkin.